You're listening to the Blind Sports New South Wales podcast. We discuss lifestyle, sports, adventure, and resources for the low vision and blind community throughout the month. Listeners can look forward to giveaways and interactive segments, including interviews with special guests, so be sure to add us on Facebook and Instagram at Blind Sports NSW, and check our website blindsportsnsw.com.au to stay up to date with upcoming podcasts.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our very first panel talk with our youth athletes from Blind Sports New South Wales. Tonight we're featuring Courtney Webeck, Layla Sharp and James Tirado. So to start with, I might just throw it to our athletes and ask them to give them a bit of an intro about themselves and their involvement in athletics. So I'll start with you, Courtney.
So I'm Courtney Webeck. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Gloucester and I so in athletics I do middle distance and long jump, and I also compete in triathlons. I do also horse riding and rodeos, and that's about all.
Awesome. And how about you, Layla?
My name is Layla Sharp. I'm 12 years old. I live in St Mary's, New South Wales, and I specialise in 400, 800 and 1500. I'm classified as a T12 athlete, which is for those who have moderate visual impairment.
Great. And on to you, James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm 17 years of age and I specialise in the 400 metre and the 800 metres in athletics, and I'm a T13 athlete.
Perfect. So just to give our listeners a bit more information, I wonder if each of you could just tell us a little bit more detail about your vision impairment and maybe when you first learnt about it, whether it was from a young age or something that you learned about more recently. So we'll go to Layla first this time.
So my condition is congenital nystagmus, which means that I was born with it. To describe nystagmus, it is where your eyes are just constantly moving from side to side. Some people often refer to it as dancing eyes. I also have peripheral blindness. I have around 3 to 4 degrees of vision in my left eye and around 8 degrees of vision in my right eye. My visual acuity is 660. I have stationary night blindness, and currently I am being tested for retinal dystrophy.
Great, thank you. And James, what about yourself?
So I have progressive cone dystrophy. So the best way I sort of describe it is in the eye, you know how you have two types of cells, cones and rods. One sees colour and uses it for day vision, and one is for night vision. So I don't have any cone cells, or they're defective, so I don't see colour. And so I see everything with my rods, like with night vision. So I have really photophobic eyes and have to wear sunglasses everywhere I go. And my visual acuity is pretty low, 660, but it's still, I would say, a functional level of vision, but it's obviously affects me a bit in sport.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that. And how about you, Court?
So I have corneal dyssymphagus nystagmus. So like Layla said, nystagmus, it shakes. And then cornea, so it's like my cornea, which is a white part of your eye, is formed over my pupil. So they could tell once I'm born that I had that, and my pupils are also smaller than usual. So yeah, right. And I'm 660 too in one eye and 180 in the other eye.
Okay, thank you. So I just wonder if you could maybe tell us about a time, or how have you found that if you've tried to compete in mainstream sports, whether that be at school or outside of school, have you faced any challenges or any difficulties due to your vision impairment when trying to compete in those mainstream sports? James, we might start with you this time.
Yeah, so I love basketball, so I've always had a passion for basketball, and probably just seeing the highlights, I've always wanted to be like that. So in school, I played on a team with my friends, and every time I'd get in a good position, I'd run up. I never would just catch the ball, so it did affect me a bit. They would they just would always ask, "Come on, you can catch the ball, you can catch the ball." Maybe once every 50 times I'd get the ball and do the play that I really wanted. But yeah, it did affect me quite a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's tricky, isn't it, when they don't fully understand or grasp how challenging it could be for you. And
yeah.
although they continue to sort of encourage you, you need to have those or I guess modifications in place, don't you, just to make these sports more accessible. How about you, Courtney? Do you have any examples that you can think of?
Yeah, so I played netball ever since kindergarten. I still play it now, and I now play opens netball with grown men and women. So I guess you just have to take it, and we use a brighter coloured ball so I can see it easier. And I guess my friends, being in a small and rural community, that I only ever had 12 kids in my years, like primary school years, and I think there's 40 something in my high school year this year. So they are small and everyone knows me. So I guess being a kid in year 7, I never thought I would get to where I am now, and I got to compete in the school triathlon last year, and we won it with 2 other fully able people. So it was a pretty cool experience to do that.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations. Okay, Layla, do you have any examples that you might be able to share with us?
So when I was in primary school, we would usually do sports on Fridays with my year 5 and 6 peers. The main sports we'd participate in were like soccer, football, cricket and netball, etc. I struggled with participating in those team sports as my school didn't make any adaptations for my visual impairment. Whenever we did school races, after the first time I raced and tripped nearly everybody over, they had to put me by myself on the side so I wouldn't cause collision with other competitors. All this happened before I was classified, and my school were pretty much clueless when it came to my visual needs, and they didn't know what to do, so I struggled a lot with sport.
Yeah, I guess that education piece is really important, isn't it? Just being able to, I guess, make the teachers aware and educate schools on what adaptations are required to make things like that more inclusive for you, especially in a school environment when, you know, everyone should be able to have the opportunity to participate. So, I mean, have things changed, I guess, as you've gotten older? Have you noticed that things have improved for you at school?
Yeah, in some ways it's improved for me because my mum's been able to let them know more, and Murray's been able to help out and let my mum know of what like the school would need to help implement for me. But now I'm in high school, so now we've got to like re-inform them of everything.
Oh, so you're kind of starting again now.
Yeah, basically.
No, that's great, guys. Appreciate you sharing those stories with us. So now we might move on to the fun stuff, which is talking about all of your achievements in athletics. So I know you've represented New South Wales and on the national stage as well. So we might start with James, if you want to give us a bit of an overview of all of your achievements. And just so everyone knows, James was our featured athlete in our new Spotlight section of the April news. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you should jump on our Inclusion Sports media platform or our Facebook page and have a look at that. But yeah, James, please tell us a bit about your achievements, particularly in the last few years.
Well, I have to say my highlight, which I was incredibly thrilled and honoured to have been involved with, was last year. I got to compete at the Oceania Championships, and I got to represent Australia in the 400, and I got a bronze medal there. It was an amazing experience. And then at the end of last year in December, I got to go to All Schools in Perth, and I got a gold medal in the 800 para under 18. And it was a great experience there as well, getting it for the second time after previously in 2018. And then more recently, I've competed at the state junior championships at New South Wales, and I got 2 golds and a silver in the 800, 400 and the 1500 meter events for para under 18. And then I was going to compete in the Opens, but instead I competed in the Opens in Queensland because I got the opportunity to get internationally classified, and I got 2 gold medals there. And then I was getting pretty excited for nationals, but due to COVID-19, it was heartbreaking. I haven't been able to go to nationals as it was cancelled.
Oh, that's such a shame, isn't it? Congratulations on all that you've achieved so far. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And how do you find the travel? Do you enjoy traveling for all of the different events?
Oh yeah, I really love it. Like it's like after I compete, I get to see all these new places. Like I've traveled all around Australia. It's been great seeing all these new places.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And how about you, Courtney? Would you like to give us a bit of an overview on your athletics achievements?
Yeah, so last year was a pretty good year. I got to go to 3 different nationals for cross country and 2 for athletics. So the national cross country, I got a second in my age race individual, and we got a team gold in the relays and the team event. And then I won all schools state last year, and as well as the CHS in the 800. And then I went on to nationals, which was in Perth. And 9 days before nationals, I was in hospital and got my appendix out. And I decided to run, and I got a second over there. So it was pretty chaotic. So, and the other achievement probably would be I won the school triathlon with my friends, as well as the town triathlon, which is an open event for anyone around the world can come and enter that triathlon. So they're probably the highlights for last year.
Wow, that's unreal. I think that would have to be a record, wouldn't it? Competing so quickly after being in hospital.
Yeah, well, I wasn't allowed to run for 6 weeks. So I had 6 months off after that. So I only started training again this week.
Okay, good to hear. And how about you, Layla?
So my recent achievements have been breaking the 200-meter Australian under-16 record with a time of 32.99 seconds at the school athletics state carnival back in November 2019. And then in February, I participated in the regional lit athletics carnival. I competed as a mainstream athlete for the 3 kilometres, so I could aim for the Australian open age record. I qualified for regionals as a mainstream athlete to achieve the goal that I had. I ended up breaking the Australian open age record for 3K as a T12 athlete. Then about 2 months ago, I was able to break the 400-metre under 18 Australian record at the New South Wales Juniors. I also broke the 800-metre under 20 Australian record there and achieved my biggest goal to break the Australian 1500-metre open age record.
Wow, what a list. That's amazing. Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
So I guess out of all of your achievements, if you had to pick one main highlight, whether that's, something you remember fondly, if it was a funny memory or winning a particular event, if you had to pick one, what would it be? And we'll start with Layla this time.
So for this question, I have probably 3, but they're almost nearly, 2 of them are together kind of. So I went to the Pacific School Games in Adelaide for 800 metres in 2017. We did a fly-in, fly-out as at the time we weren't able to afford staying there due to the Ashes being on in the same year and being at such a big event, almost like a mini Olympics with loads of different countries competing. It was such a huge highlight to me as I won gold, broke a record with minimal training with my mum as my coach. So far, the record has not been broken. Another highlight to me was becoming the New South Wales team captain of 2019 for my last year of primary school sport. I also made an idea to combine mainstream and multi-class in one relay, and I was able to provide them with percentages and points, and now they are considering my idea.
Fantastic. That's a great initiative. Well done.
Thank you.
James, we'll head to you now.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I thoroughly enjoyed my experience competing and representing Australia last year, but in terms of the most memorable, you can't beat in 2018 when I was running the 800 at the at the All Schools Championships, and it was the rain was horrendous. I could hardly see. I needed windscreen wipers on my glasses. I couldn't see the glasses. It was saturated, but yeah, I just had to push through. Almost slipped, but once I crossed the finish line, I was glad that race that I pushed through and got a gold medal.
Isn't that funny? Sometimes torrential weather that bad can really stick in your mind.
Yeah,
competing in a race or whether you're playing a mainstream sport, you sort of always remember games or races like that.
Yeah.
And how about you, Court?
Oh, wow. That was a pretty memorable time, actually, what James just mentioned. I remember racing that race too. It was quite wet, but to win I got reserve champion at my school carnival last year against The girl who beat me, she represented Australia at the World Cross Country Championships, but to get second among all the girls in my year is pretty special. So to win the reserve age champion for the able-bodied was pretty good last year at the school carnival. One of the memorable ones.
Very good. Sounds like, yeah, some very memorable moments there in the past, and I'm sure there'll be more to come in the future. So I guess obviously the topic on everyone's mind is COVID-19. So let's talk a little bit about what a regular training routine looks like for you before COVID-19, and do you have a regular coach or other athletes that you train with? Let's start with you for this one, James.
Yeah, so before COVID-19, I would do 4 running sessions a week and 3 strength sessions. My coach is Matt Rawlings, and he has a great squad with a lot of para athletes. We all help push each other along, close-knit group. And yeah, that's been me. And then obviously COVID-19 has changed things a bit, but just got to keep training, keep up the fitness and adapt so we can come out fitter and stronger when all this is over.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Court?
Well, as I didn't train for 6 months, COVID-19, but really nothing has changed as I live in a farm. I can still run the hills and do everything the same, and only one person in town had it, so it didn't really change anything at all. So I probably just got a bit more time at home to do other things, and yeah, it didn't change it really at all.
I think you're one of the lucky ones in that sense, aren't you? That you've got so much space to yourself that yeah, you can just continue in a pretty familiar routine.
Yeah.
And how about you, Layla?
So before COVID-19, my routine would usually consist of 2 training hard sessions a week, like once. So you do twice a week, 2 hard sessions, and then 2 hard sessions in a week. Yeah, and then on the weekend I would do a recovery run, and then I'd have physio and swimming in between. But now the only thing that I have, my coach, he doesn't do one-on-one sessions, so now I've been switching to these other coaches for temporary, and then I'm going to see how they go. But now my swimming's been cancelled, so I just have physio and training.
Right, okay. So yeah, I guess that brings us to our next question, which we've already touched on a little bit, but have you implemented any new measures since COVID-19? And I know, Layla, we were speaking in the last couple of days, you've launched a YouTube channel recently, is that right? And you've shared some stretching videos and that type of thing?
Yes, I've started a YouTube channel called Layla Sharp, which features athletics, and I also bring education into it by reading to the younger kids. I've just had so much free time recently that I needed to do something with it. Because of COVID-19, I've had online sessions with my current coaches to which I wasn't benefiting from, so I had to change my measures around. So now I've since seen Graham Hand from Up Coaching and Ben St. Lawrence, who is an Olympian from Run Crew, and I'm trialing them out, and that's how my measures have changed because I've had so much free time and I've realized that I need to move on from these other coaches and find the best coach for me.
Yeah, great. So I guess a really productive way to sort of use your time just to evaluate what's working for you and what's not working for you. And I think that the YouTube channel is a really good idea as well to share what you're doing with other people. So that's fantastic. I'll throw this one to James or Courtney. If you've sort of implemented any new measures during COVID-19, whether it's in relation to training or something that's more online or anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, so with my training, I've sort of changed, we've changed the format of it in the sense that it's because we don't have many meets coming up. We've dropped down the speed and focus on more endurance and strength. So doing a lot more stuff in the home gym with just an online sort of website that shows you how to do each exercise and how many reps. So yeah, that's been really enjoyable. But I do miss all those speed sessions I was doing in the lead up to nationals.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's a big adjustment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything
you'd like to share, Court, before we move on to the next question?
No, I pretty much have stayed the same, not doing much different. So
Cool. Okay, so next question, we're just going to take a break from athletics for a minute, and we'd like to know what you guys get up to when you're not training or competing for events. What do you like to do in your downtime? Let's start with Court.
So at the moment I'm breaking in a show steer to take to a show. So obviously Sydney's been cancelled, Wingham got cancelled, Brisbane got cancelled. So we're hoping for Scone, which is in October, doesn't get cancelled, to take the steer to. And I also rodeo, which have all been cancelled as well. So just going back and doing all the horse things and just having time. I get to bring my friends and studying, obviously, for year 11, a lot of schoolwork and just maintaining everything still.
Yeah, of course. So how about James? We'll go to you next.
Yeah, so apart from studying as well as Courtney, because I'm in year 12 this year, big HSC coming up. But apart from that, which is pretty boring, I really enjoy playing the piano. It's a good outlet to just, relax and also stimulate sort of those motor skills, and it's really enjoyable at the same time.
Yeah, that's great, guys. I think it's really good to have something that you're passionate about outside of whatever your main focus is, just to sort of give yourself a bit of a break and channel that energy somewhere else, so you're not, 100%, I guess, just doing the same thing all the time. Layla, what about you?
During my spare time, I'm kind of similar to James and Courtney. I'm studying and getting ahead on my schoolwork while I can, and then I read and go bike riding daily. But basically, athletics is my life, so I don't do much apart from athletics, apart from those things I've listed.
Yeah, great. So I guess just touching on school for a minute, we didn't really discuss much of that prior to this session, but how has school been for you guys, and what changes have been put in place to make sure that you can, especially for you, James, and caught with sort of exams coming up and things like that. So yeah, we'll start with James. How have you adapted to the changes from school?
Oh, with COVID-19,
Yeah.
So learning from home, it's a lot different. Don't really have a strict schedule or a teacher telling you exactly what to do, so it sort of relies a lot on self-motivation. So that's taken a bit to get used to, but now I sort of enjoy it because there's a lot more freedom. I can get up in the morning, train, and then start school at 10 and go till 5 or something like that. So that flexibility has been good, but it's been hard having that motivation. So yeah, mixed feelings.
Yeah, understandable. And has it been sort of the same for you, Courtney?
Yeah, motivation's one thing that I don't have much of when it comes to schoolwork. So I had to, the first week, most of our school year treated it as a holiday, but then the second week we're like, we kind of need to get into it, and we kind of have to motivate each other over the phone to do it. And we get to do one-on-one sessions once every 2 weeks with our teachers. So that's really good. And like James says, you can train in the morning, and I didn't start school. I had 2 frees this morning, so I didn't start school until 12. So I had a pretty good day.
Yeah, it's good to have that flexibility, isn't it? And like you mentioned, I think it's really important to keep connected with your friends during this time. So whether it be, or like what we're doing now, a Zoom session or over the phone or something like that, it's definitely good to stay connected and in touch with everyone.
Yeah.
Layla, how has school changed for you after COVID-19?
School's changed in a big way because my school, they're not fully educated on my visual impairment, so they don't really know much, and they haven't really made much of an effort to help me. So basically what we have to do is enlarge everything and then print it out and then scan it and then hand it in, because I can't see it any other way because they put everything in 8 font and it's impossible for me to read. So I have to just print everything out and then do it. The only thing the teacher did try to do was make a call, but then my mum told her what they needed to do, but they didn't really change anything. So it's been a bit hard. But it has been good to have flexibility with training, and I can go out and go for a bike ride in the morning or something and then do school in the afternoon.
Yeah, gosh, it sounds a bit challenging for you, but it sounds like, your mum's sort of doing everything she can to to help you during this time, which is great to have her support, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, we might jump back to athletics for a moment, and I'd love for you to share with our listeners what your next big goal is and what you're hoping to achieve in athletics once everything does return back to normal. So we'll start with James for this one.
So my next goal, ever since I started athletics, I've always wanted to make the Paralympics. So I've been working towards that goal. So for me, next season, I just want to get my times closer to that Tokyo qualifying time. It's a small chance, but I believe I'm more on track for Paris. So either Tokyo or Paris, I'm just working hard, trying to get those times down. Last season, I got a bit closer, breaking some Australian records in the 800, and I'm just working closer for the 400 because that's the main event for me.
Fantastic. And how about you, Courtney?
I guess most things have been pushed right back, so probably looking at not even September, but there is this town triathlons then and the school triathlons, so hopefully they'll get held. So training for those events later this year, definitely.
Great. And what about you, Layla? What's on your agenda?
So for my goals, I would like to break an oceanic record, but that's more of a short-term goal, and I'm hoping I can achieve that some point if this year, if it comes back, or early next year. And then I'd also like to qualify for an Australian representative team. I'd love to go to Tokyo, but that's probably more of a long-term goal, and also my age might not be able to get me in. But 400 is probably the time I'm closest to for Tokyo.
Wow, that's very exciting, guys, and it's good to have those goals in place just as extra motivation, looking forward, especially if, like you said, Court, you're struggling with motivation to get something done during this COVID-19 period. It's definitely good to have goals and set yourself some stepping stones, I guess, on how you can achieve them. So sounds like you're all doing the right things, and I'm sure if you continue to work hard, you'll get to where you want to be. So I guess our next question we had for you is, we were hoping you could share, I guess, an experience you've had with Blind Sports New South Wales, whether it's, if you've been to one of our multi-sports camps, or if you've come along to a multi-sports day, or even if you've tried some of our more unique events like our indoor skydiving, or we had our new winter sports camp last year, which I think, Courtney, you went to that one. So, yeah, if you could just tell us about a time that you've engaged with Blind Sports New South Wales, and maybe you met some new friends or anything like that, we'd love to hear about it. So I might throw to Courtney first.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go on the winter sports camp down to Jindabyne last year. It was a great experience, got to try a new thing. I really enjoyed that in the summer camp. I think it was not last summer, 2 summers ago, at Narrabeen. That was really cool to try all different sports that we haven't tried that much of. And it was pretty cool to meet all the new friends and experience different things around Sydney, as I live out in the country. I don't go to Sydney that often, and see different things. It's really good.
Awesome. And how about you, James?
Yeah, so I went to one of the multi-sports days, and I found that really enjoyable because so many times I've been to my friend's house. He has a tennis court, and we've played as a group, and I have never hit the ball. Tennis has just been completely out of the realm for me. And that day when obviously they made it was more accessible to people with vision impairment, and I really enjoyed that experience. And I didn't think it was possible until that day. So yeah, it was great.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit more about what modifications they put in place that day to make it a bit more accessible? Did they use, was it the foam ball, the audible ball for the tennis?
Yeah. So the court was smaller, and basically the ball was lighter, so it could bounce, and you had time, so you sort of hear where the ball bounces, and it has one bounce, and then you use the racket and sort of use underarm to hit it up. And then obviously before you serve, you sort of tell the other person so they can get their ears ready. So just little changes like that made it like maybe I reckon 80% of the time I was hitting the ball compared to 0% of the time with normal tennis.
Oh, that's fantastic. So isn't that great that even little changes like that can make such a big difference for someone like yourself that, wants to play tennis and has the opportunity to, and just with little adaptations like that, it really changes the game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. And how about you, Layla?
So I have a couple of fond memories. So one of them was the New South Wales Blind Sports Camp, where we went to Narrabeen in 2018. We got to trial a few sports that had adaptations in them, like we did some surfing, rock climbing, goalball, cricket, and athletics. And that's also what inspired me to fall in love with athletics, apart from Adelaide's experience. I also was able to make a lot of friends and got to socialise with people who are visually impaired like myself, and it was good to know that I'm not the only one and we are all in this together. As a result of the camp, I now do cricket every now and then when they hold one for Blind Sports New South Wales. I love the board games night with Murray and crew when we were all dancing around and I was just running laps and laps of this whole place, practicing for my endurance for cross country. Everyone else was dancing and I was just doing laps and laps continuously. As well as this, I was able to do iFly with Blind Sports New South Wales. I probably wouldn't do it very often, but it was still a nice experience, and it will be one that I'll remember in many years into the future.
Oh, that's great. And I too remember that night, Layla, when you were continuously running laps while everyone else is just having a dance at the disco, and here's Layla running and running for about 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
No, that was funny. That's great, you guys. So I just, to finish things off, I really wanted to say thank you for giving up your time and speaking to us, and very excited to launch this as our first panel and podcast for youth athletes. And it's great to be able to share your experiences, particularly with some of our younger members that might be coming through. So I just wondered if anyone might like to share some comments on how you became involved in athletics, and if you have any words of encouragement for anyone that might be looking to get involved. Layla, we'll start with you for this one.
Yeah, so I'd like to say huge thanks to Murray for when he advocated for me to run in the 1500 metre able body races when I was supposedly not allowed to do it and wasn't provided with a good enough reason, even though I had posted the quickest seed time for the district race, which I wasn't allowed to compete in, since apparently my school said that para athletes can only do para events. And then my school changed that to, oh, we are sorry, the computer wouldn't let you do it. But it was really good to know that he was supporting me into letting me race into this event, which was so important to me because it was my first experience going to regionals as an able-bodied competitor, and I felt like I'd worked hard to make it there. And to be just let down and told that I can't do it was like really devastating for me. So I ended up getting a wild card through, and then I ended up coming 5th, and I was 1 place off making it through to the next level. So also to any younger visually impaired children watching this, it is great to try as many sports as possible, as you never know, you may be good at something and could be the next visually impaired Australian representative. New South Wales blind sports are a great gateway to building a sports career if you are passionate to do so.
Awesome. Thanks, Layla. And how about you, James?
Yeah, so I've been running since primary school and running at a national level for the past 3 years. And in that time, I have to say, I can't over-exaggerate it. Athletics is the greatest sport. And I would have to say that you just have to give it a go no matter what. Just give it a go for once, because there's something for everyone. And the feeling you get when you get a new PB, I can't over-exaggerate it. It's so rewarding after all that hard work and discipline. And I feel you can take those skills, those discipline and determination you use in the training to other aspects of life. So, yeah.
Wonderful. You can tell how passionate you are about it, James, which is really great to see. Yeah. So we'll just move on to Court for your final thoughts.
Yeah, so if you have an interest, or just try something new and dream big, I guess you say, and just go after what you want and hope that one day it's going to happen, and hard work always will pay off in the long run.
Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you all very, very much for your time tonight. We really do appreciate it. And we'll keep watch on all of your achievements moving forward, no doubt. I'm sure you'll see these guys featured on upcoming newsletters or podcasts. And yeah, this is quite a momentous occasion. You three, the first faces of our new youth athletes panel. So thanks again, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, guys. And thank you to all of our listeners for coming along and watching or listening to our video tonight. Yeah, if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, we're hoping to launch quite a few more videos and podcasts on inclusion sports media in the next few weeks. Or you can always email me. So my name's Sophie and I'm the Program Manager at Blind Sports New South Wales. My email is sophie.milton@blindsportsnsw.com.au. Thanks again, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's video, and keep watch on our platforms for upcoming podcasts and more featured videos with new panelists.